So welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we have an extraordinary keyboard player that I wanted to meet. He is going to tell you of his journey. So stick around after the intro. Nicholas, welcome to the Music Hacks Network.
Blessings, Chris, my colleague from a very long time. It is my honor to be here.
I was kind of excited to get you into the studios because I know you are a musician with a lot of knowledge.
Yes, sir.
What how have you been keeping in a time like this?
I have been good for the most part. Life throws a lot of you sometimes, but you have to cope with what is happening. You have to find ways and stay motivated in overcoming the obstacles. So I have been good. I've been good.
Hmm. How has this affected your musical career though?
Boy, that is a whole cup of tea that is very hot, but it gives me bittersweet moments, because I'm mostly indoors, missing the great outdoors, missing on the stage and all of that stuff. But on the other hand, it gives me some more time to practice and, venture into different aspects of music production and all the work. So, I mean, it's bittersweet.
Mhm.
Yeah, man.
All right. So Nicholas, at this time, I am going to ask you just to give us a short introduction of yourself so that the viewers and subscribers can really get to know who is Nicholas.
All right. So my real name is Nicholas Marks, stage name Sicko or Rebel Keys. Right. I am a teacher at St. Jago High School. Right. I'm a full-time musician and a full-time teacher. May be hard to explain if you get what I mean, but yeah, I do spend a lot of time working. I've had my fair shares of experience in music as I've been in it from a very tender age. So I have quite some experience under my belt. I'm still young. I don't consider myself to be old just yet.
Right?
just an ambitious person who really loves and enjoy music. And when I say music, I mean music on a whole and not just playing music. I enjoy the business of music, everything that has to do with music. That is just me.
So Nicholas, you mentioned that you are a school teacher and
Mhm.
I know you are a full-time musician. How do you balance both careers?
To be honest, it is a very tedious task, but at the end of the day, it comes down to discipline and time management. For me, I'm a teacher from 8 on Monday to Friday. So from 8 to 3, I'm a teacher, and from 3 beyond, I'm a musician. And I still have to balance that with being a husband, being an uncle, being a brother, still being a son, and the whole works. But it comes down to time management and discipline. That's the best way I can put it. Sometimes I don't manage, but I have to just pull through.
Yeah, man, and it's always nice when you have a supporting figure behind you, right? Because I'm sure
Oh,
you have
yes.
your wife supports your music,
Oh, yes, because she's a musician herself. So,
right?
it
So I
is
understand.
an adventure. As a matter of fact, musician as well and also a teacher. So she does the same thing as me. So
Right.
it's quite an adventure.
You also said that you started learning music at a tender age. Can you remember exactly when you started to learn music?
I started music on the professional scene at age 13. Hence, I would have been learning music from about age 3, age 4, thereabouts. I'm actually from a musical family, so every angle and aspect of my life actually involves music. So, as I said, very tender age, I mean, very tender age.
So, did your inspiration come from your family members around you, or did you get outside influence to pick up the music at that age?
My influence actually came from the love of music because although I from a musical family, I can't recall a lot of persons from my family doing music professionally. They do it for the fun of it and a lot. I mean, my family background is from church, so you know they're heavily involved in church music per se, right? But I was the only one to actually jump out of the box, decided that I'm going to do it professionally, right? And even outside of gospel, make it worse, coming from a Christian background. As I said, my inspiration is really just the love of music, just the love of music, really.
Mm. All right. What were some of the instruments that you were exposed to at that age?
All right. So when I started off singing,
Oh, you were
and
a singer.
yes,
I
yes.
didn't know that, Nicholas.
It's not something that I actually broadcast because it's not a road that I want to go back down. But I started off as a singer at probably age 3, age 4, and then I fell in love with the drums, right? Um, in an atmosphere where your parents don't want you to be making noise 24/7 or can't manage the noise themselves and think they actually invested in buying a keyboard for me. Because after I started drums when I was about probably 8 or 9, they invested in a keyboard for me because at that point in time now, when I go to church and conventions and the drumsticks were broken, I would normally take them home and beating down the whole house basically, right? So I had to throw out a lot of damaged furnitures and the works. Exactly how I started. So they invested in a keyboard for me. And that is when I started playing around the keyboard and I got an appreciation and a love for keyboards. I can safely say I started keyboard at about probably 8, 9 years old.
Mhm.
There about at that point in time now I threw singing through the window,
Okay.
right?
You found a new love.
Yes. Yes. So at that point in time now playing drums and then started playing the keyboards now I threw singing through the window,
Mhm.
right? So by that point in time now I started practicing a lot and it brought me to a level where persons had faith enough in me to actually say, all right, I want you to come and play for me. And I actually started professional music at age 13.
Okay. Interesting. So, who were the first persons you played for
The
professionally at
first
that age?
the first person I played for was actually a band. It was the name New Revelation Band, right?
Mhm.
With Pastor Kevin Vidal. That's the first band I played for
Okay, great, great. So this was at age 13.
at age 13.
At age
Correct.
13. All right. So what happened after age 13? How many other bands did you actually played for?
In terms of bands, I've played for a few. After I started out with New Revelation band, I went on playing for some bands like Peace and Love. I started playing for Psalm Youth of Praise. I played for another band by the name of Proverbs as well. I've worked with Dimensions band after I left Dimensions band, I started a band on my own, Earth Elements band. And since then, I've worked with other bands such as Catalyst Crew. I've worked with Code 5 band as well. So that's just some of the bands that I've worked with over the years.
Okay, Nicholas. I can imagine playing with so many bands has only improved your skill over the years. But you tell us, how has that impacted your development as a keyboard player?
All right. It actually impacted my playing a whole lot because the band, the music that they specialize in is technically a wide cross section. So you have between black gospel, you have a little of the Jamaican sound, so you have the scatty, mento, and the reggae, right? And then you have the bands that actually specialized in reggae and dancehall, right? So it kind of broadened my scope as it pertains to the level of my playing with these genres. So it has impacted my playing a lot,
Mhm.
definitely.
And it makes you more versatile for any gig.
Versatile for any platform.
All right, I must agree. I've never seen you in a setting where you have not performed before, and I've seen you so many places.
Oh yes,
Yeah, man, I have to give
quite
you
an experience.
credit for that. All right.
Quite an experience.
So who are some of the persons? We just spoke of some of the bands that you have played in, and we agree that it has shaped your career. But who are some of the outside influences that have shaped your career?
All right, so I've worked on both gospel and secular stage before, which kind of give me the different experiences to shape where I am today. Some of the artists on the gospel side, like Ancient Priest, Fabian Wright, Gotti Gotti, Jabez, Catalyst Crew, as I mentioned before, as an artist now, Jodian Panchi, Lubert Levy. I worked with Marian Hall, who is formerly known as Lady Saw. I've worked with Judy Mott, Sandra Brooks, and even in more recent times, Kukudu himself. Right
Mhm.
on the secular stage, I've worked with Imar Shepherd, I've worked with Tifa, I've worked with Alkaline, Sean Antoine, Korik, Nature, Luciano, George Nooks.
The
So
list goes on.
I
Mhm.
yes, and there are others that won't readily come to memory. But if I should sit down and write a list, maybe it would be
Yeah, man.
oh yes, quite an episode.
All right. Awesome. Is there a performance that stands out in your mind at this time?
I've had so many wow moments on stage. It's kind of hard to pinpoint, but most of my memorable performances are gospel based, of course. I remember doing a show in downtown Kingston with Reverend Gotti Gotti. And I mean, based on the nature of his music, the people enjoyed it so much. A person started to run on stage,
Mm,
right? Just to get a up close and personal experience. I've had so many experiences. It's just hard to pinpoint them all. But yeah, I've had some real memorable ones.
okay. I'm gonna pick two and put you on the spot from the list that you have given me,
All right.
because these two guys are they're very energetic on stage, but different genres.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Kukudu and Gadi Gadi. Tell me your experience in performing for both persons. What's the difference? What's the similarity? And how you prepare yourself to perform for both artists.
All right. With Gotti Gotti, his music is more structured in the sense that he does reggae gospel, and majority of his music is arranged, as opposed to Kukudu that is more free flowing. right? You know, you just it's more spontaneous, right? Unlike Gotti performance, which would be more rigid somewhat in terms of the form and syncopations, right? Intros and outros and all of that stuff. But as it pertains to the preparation now, for me, when I go to rehearsals, it's something that I try to do. I always record my rehearsals. So when I'm home on my practice time, I can go back and I can listen. I can tighten up on where I fell down in the rehearsal, right? So when it comes on to the next rehearsal or even the performance, I know that I'm not going to fall down at the same place, right? I listen to these recordings very often until after the performance. Sometimes even after the performance, I don't even want to hear it again based on the amount of time that I actually listen to it. But just to make sure that my performance was actually great, I gave the effort to listen and know the material like the back of my hand. Sometimes even years after, I can just sing all the syncopations and everything still. That based on the amount of times that I listen to the rehearsal. So that is just a part of the way, or even some of the ways that I actually prepare for these performances. In terms of arrangements and keys and all of that stuff is something that I always write down because I always work in my my book to ensure that I write it down and all of that stuff. So maybe if you check me out some of the time, I still years after I still have the keys for the artists and stuff.
Whoa. But I admire you for that because that is something that my band members they have always cursed me for because I can't write down the stuff. I've always tried to commit everything to memory, but I know that what you're doing, that's the way to go.
Oh yes.
You know?
Oh yes, there was once a point in my life that I decided that I never wanted to use books either. And when I tried memory, I mean I would remember majority of the package and stuff, but my downfall sometime I will miss with the keys.
Mhm.
You
The
know, so
keys.
I made sure, yes man, I made sure that all right, since I'm not remembering the keys, if it's even the key, I write it down. So that when I'm on stage I don't make that mistake.
I know that you transitioned into a music school and you were formerly trained.
Mhm.
All right. Can you tell the viewers which school that is?
All right, so I got my formal training in music at Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts.
Okay.
So that's
Uh,
where I got my formal music training.
right. So what inspired you to actually get formally trained?
All right, so when I left high school, this is a question that they would normally ask children growing up what you want to do when you grow old, what you want to do, what profession you want to go and what you want to be. For me, it was always strange because when I mentioned to persons that I want to be a musician, they would say, but you're already a musician. So why is your ambition wanting to be a musician and you're already a musician? So some persons would not understand. However, for me, I just wanted music. As I say, I love music, right? When I decided that I wanted to go to Edna Manley now to be a musician, my mother in particularly never wanted that for me because she was saying that, okay, you're already a musician and you can do music on the side, but choose another path.
Mm,
So I actually started NCU. I did 2 years at NCU doing mass communication.
cool.
And when I said that was a drag, I mean that was a drag. My interest was not there. Teachers failing me for no reason and all of that stuff. So when she realized now that I really can't do without the music, that is when she decided that, okay, I'm going to give you your opportunity to go and do the music, but you have to make the best of it. And that is when I actually got the chance now to go to Edamale and become someone in the music profession.
So Nicholas, I want you now to outline some of um, your experiences that you had at the Enomani College.
All right, so my experiences at Edamale College is a lot, so I'll just cut down to probably about two or three. Um, I remember days when I had to practice for performances. that dread event that Ed Mali have every Thursday called lunch hour concerts. You know, as a musician, you are fine being on a stage with millions of persons in front of you. But when you step on a Edamanle stage with probably about 50 or 100, it is nerve wracking.
Yeah, man.
Nerve wracking. So preparations for lunch hour was, man, like a boot camp.
True, true.
So that was definitely one of my memorable experience. Um, I remember doing principal instrument with in the slaughterhouse, as we call it, with Miss McNamee.
Yeah.
When you get your pieces and you have not practiced, trust me, it becomes a slaughterhouse.
Hmm.
But you know, the drilling that I got and the training that I got from Miss McNamee actually shaped my playing today. So I really am grateful for the slaughterhouse. Right?
Okay.
That was two. And I remember courses that I did that was fun, like principal instruments. When you have a couple of the instrumentalists who comes in and cannot sing, man,
Wow.
you make a mockery of them. And that was another great experience I had at Edna Manley.
So which course did you pursue there?
All right, so I studied music education.
Okay.
I studied music education and I switched from classical to jazz.
Okay. But why
Yeah.
music education though? Because I know every musician would want to be a performing musician. Why education?
Why education? I was influenced into this by my parents from the onlook that you don't necessarily need a degree to perform, right? But you need a degree for a career, right? And a career in music would have been teaching, right? So I got the degree from that angle where I can always go into a classroom and teach for a living, as opposed to being on the road, especially in times like these when there is a pandemic and the road is no longer existing at the moment. You know that you still can have a steady income coming in. So that's the angle that I was influenced into teaching from,
Hmm.
right? But I still got the training, the physical playing training. So it was a good move in a lot of views or a lot of insights, right?
Cool. All right. Do you think a musician should be formally trained? I want you to answer this in your honest opinion, because this is kind of a tricky subject. Most musicians would, I know, will shoot you down for this. But what do you think?
Honestly, I think that musicians should be formally trained. My explanation for this, I mean, I stand subjective to my opinion. I'm not killing the opinion of others, right? Because everybody have their different experiences and their different views. However, for me, just as the Bible says, study to show yourself approved. At the end of the day, and I think that a musician should be able to express himself in a musical language that others can understand, right? Should be able to explain himself thoroughly, especially helping other musicians. You should be able to know terms, expressions, the names of different scales, runs, the different roles, the different rudiments, and all of that stuff. So in the sense of teaching others, you should be able to express yourself and know what you are about, understand how to play what you play, right, and when to play what, right. And for me personally, I am guilty of this because when I went to Edna Manley, I did not believe in sight reading. But when I went there, I got to understand the value of sight reading, and I got an understanding or an appreciation then for sight reading because it actually has its place. So a formal education in music actually gives you the opportunity to experience music from the different levels and angles. So I think it is important for musicians to be formally trained.
Mm. All right. So after you left Edna Manley, where did life take you? What happened after Edna Manley?
After Edna Manley, I ended up in a classroom at Excelsior Primary. So then and there, now you realize that I've taught music on the various levels because I've taught at the primary and the high school. I left Excelsior Primary and then I went to Mona Heights Primary, and then from Mona Heights Primary to St. Jago High School, where I am currently.
Mm. Okay, cool. All right. So in terms of music, what exactly are you working on now?
All right. So as I mentioned earlier, I actually ventured into production since the pandemic. Hence, I started my record label. Right. The label that I started is Rebel Keys Music. I started producing. Right. I produced a single which is set to release next week Saturday, as a matter of fact, for Minister Kukudu. Right. So it will be on all social platforms, so you can listen out for that. Right. So I have been doing production, I've been doing artist management because I've also decided that I would manage his career as well. That is Minister Kukudu. I've also decided to manage his career as well. So it brought me into production and artist management. So those are technically some of the things I've been up to, and I've been producing for other persons as well, but not ready for release as yet. But if you stay tuned to the Rebel Keys music page, then you will definitely see the works that I've been putting in and will be released soon.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Nicholas, I know we have a lot of younger musicians who are coming up in the wings. All right. What would you exactly say to these guys who are trying to make their way in the music industry?
Find your place in music, which is definitely the first advice I'd give. I mean, for persons, they would love to play, be a musician on the road, but there are other aspects in music as well that is just as worthwhile as being on stage, right? Try to invest in your craft. Take your craft seriously. It's not just a hobby, right? It is something that can actually make a living for you, right? Be serious about your practice time, as I did in my presentation. Find the time to practice, find what motivates you to practice, right? Find your weakness, work on your weakness. And these are just some of the things that I mentioned in my presentation. So you can head over to that video as well, and you can observe the points that I made on that presentation, right? So definitely try and practice, be disciplined in practicing, know what you're about, all right?
Okay, Sicko Rebel Keys. All right. I want my viewers and subscribers, for those who do not know how to actually contact you, I want you to leave some contacts for them for any informational purposes or bookings or stuff like that. How can we contact you?
All right, so you can check Facebook at Sicko Rebel Keys, right? You can check Instagram at Casper Sicko. You will find me there. My email address is Nicholas underscore Marks 2002 at Yahoo. Repeat that, Nicholas underscore Marks 2002 at Yahoo. Or you can simply just send me a WhatsApp message at 5683582. So that's 5683582.
All right, my brother.
Definitely.
Is there anything else that you would
Right.
like to add before
Yes,
we leave?
man, definitely. Definitely. It was great working with you on this project, Chris. It is an honor, especially to see the venture that you're on. to help musicians to grow. I hope persons actually do make use of this platform, right? And to the persons who actually view this interview or even view the tutorials, just like, subscribe, and share. Help us to just spread the word and help us to build the unity of the music fraternity, whether local or abroad. We just want to be united as musicians, helping each other, right? So I hope that everybody will just like, subscribe, and share. And all the best on the musical journey.
Yes,
Yeah, Chris.
Nicholas, this has been an awesome interview, sir. Thank you for joining us on the Music Hacks Network, and all the best to you in your journey and your endeavors. I wish you all the best at becoming a producer. All right.
Thank you, sir.
And I hope I will see you back in the studios very shortly.
No problem.
All right. So take care, and I
All
will see
right.
you at another date.
All right. God bless. Thanks for having me.
All right. Bless, bro.